How Munger destroyed his financial problems before they even started. What if I told you that you could solve your biggest financial problems without ever actually having to solve them? Most of us are trained to be financial firefighters, to deal with debt only after it's already crushing us, to learn from a failed investment after we've already lost the money, to react to a crisis after the damage is already done. But one of the richest men in history, Charlie Munger, did the exact opposite. He didn't just avoid problems. He had a mental weapon that destroyed them before they ever appeared. This has nothing to do with luck. It's a radical principle that's going to change your entire relationship with money. This powerful secret is why, while everyone else was fighting financial fires, Munger was living in a state of financial calm. Part 1. The Financial Firefighting Trap. Most people's financial lives are a constant game of firefighting. They're always reacting, always on defense, always trying to fix the last problem that hit them. It's an exhausting, losing battle that leads to a life of stress and anxiety. Munger figured out that you can't get rich by constantly putting out fires. The key to true, lasting wealth isn't about being the best problem solver. It's about being the best problem avoider. He had a simple, ruthless mental model that allowed him to see financial problems coming from a mile away and destroy them before they ever got a chance to do any real damage. Block 1. The anti-problem mindset. Most people focus on what they need to do to get rich. They're constantly asking, what stock should I buy? What side hustle should I start? Munger's mindset was the total opposite. He focused on what he needed to avoid. He famously said, "It is remarkable how much long-term advantage people like us have got by trying to be consistently not stupid, instead of trying to be very intelligent." This is the core of the anti-problem mindset. It's a focus on prevention over cure, and it's a powerful form of asymmetric advantage. Think about it. A lot of people spend their energy trying to find the next hot stock or the next big thing, which is incredibly hard and competitive. Munger instead focused on the basics, avoiding crippling debt, not overpaying for an asset, and staying away from businesses he didn't truly understand. By just avoiding these common, easily preventable mistakes, he automatically put himself miles ahead of 99% of the population. His entire strategy was a fortress built on avoiding problems, not solving them. It was a game of subtraction, not addition.
Some businesses are a lot easier to understand than others. And Charlie and I don't like difficult problems. I mean, if something is hard to figure, we'd rather multiply by 3 than by pi. I mean, it's just easier for us. Charlie,
Well, that is such an obvious point, and yet so many people think if they just hire somebody with the appropriate labels, they can do something very difficult. That is one of the most dangerous ideas a human being can have. All kinds of things just intrinsically create problems. The other day I was dealing with a problem and I said, this thing, it's a new building. I said, this thing has 3 things I've learned to fear: an architect, a contractor, and a hill. And if you go at life like that, I think you at least make fewer mistakes than people who think they can do anything by just hiring somebody with a label.
Excuse me, go ahead, sir.
You don't have to hire out your thinking if you keep it simple.
You don't have to do, we've said this before, but you don't have to do exceptional things to get exceptional results. And some people think that if you jump over a 7-foot bar, that the ribbon they pin on you is going to be worth more money than if you step over a 1-foot bar. And it just isn't true in the investment world at all. So you can do very ordinary things. I mean, what is complicated about this? But, we're $3 billion pre-tax better off than we were a few years ago because of it. There's nothing that I know about that product or its distribution system, it's finances, or anything that really hundreds of thousands or millions of people aren't capable of, that they don't already know. They just don't do anything about it. And similarly, if you get into some complicated business, you can get a report that's 1,000 pages thick, and you got PhDs working on it, but it doesn't mean anything. What you've got is a report, but you won't understand that business, what it's going to look like in 10 or 15 years. The big thing to do is avoid being wrong.
There's some things that are so intrinsically dangerous. Another of my heroes is Mark Twain, who looked at the promoters of his day, and he said, "A mine is a hole in the ground owned by a liar." And that's the way I've come to look at projections. I mean, basically, I can remember Warren and I were offered $2 million worth of projections once in the course of buying a business, and the book was this thick. And
for nothing.
And we were given it for nothing, and we wouldn't open it.
We'd almost pay $2 million not to look at it. I mean, it's ridiculous. I do not understand why any buyer of a business looks at a bunch of projections put together by a seller or
his agent.
Or his agent. I mean, you can almost say that it's naive to think that.
Block 2. The Power of Inversion. Instead of asking, "How can I make money from this?" Munger's first question was always, "How can I lose money from this?" This is the powerful principle of inversion. When you're faced with a big decision, your natural instinct is to focus on the good stuff. It's a mental shortcut that blinds you to all the potential dangers and pitfalls. By inverting the problem and forcing yourself to think about what could go wrong, you'll instantly filter out 90% of all the bad ideas. Let's take a personal example, a relationship. Instead of just asking, "How can I make this relationship work?" a Munger-esque approach would be, "How could this relationship fail?" You might realize you need to work on communication, or you might find a fundamental deal breaker. Munger applied this to everything. When he was considering a new business partnership, he didn't just ask, "How can we succeed?" He asked, "What's the single fastest way this partnership could fail?" By focusing on the absolute worst-case scenario, he could take steps to prevent it, or simply walk away and avoid a major problem altogether. Visual. A quick, impactful animation of a hardback book opening, with the cover of Poor Charlie's Almanac highlighted. The text lights up with an elegant glow, and then the subscribe and like buttons appear. If you're done fighting fires and you're ready to build a fortress, you're in the right place. Your journey to thinking like a billionaire starts right now. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and join the thinkers who are learning to see what everyone else misses. And be sure to smash that like button to show me you're ready to change the way you think. Block 3. The Lollapalooza Effect. What happens when multiple psychological biases all hit at once? Munger called this a Lollapalooza Effect, a powerful, compounding disaster. He saw it happen in the financial crisis and in countless business failures. Here's a real-world example. A startup CEO has an amazing pitch and charismatic personality authority bias. The employees, seeing everyone around them working insane hours, feel pressure to do the same, even if it's an effective social proof. And to make things worse, the company's bonus structure actually rewards people for hitting huge, short-term goals without regard for long-term health reward tendency. Each of these biases on its own is dangerous, but when they act together, they create a catastrophic chain reaction that leads to total collapse. Munger knew that these psychological forces could combine in ways that are far more powerful than they seem individually. His whole strategy was about making fewer decisions because he wanted to avoid this kind of chaotic, multi-factor trap. He knew that the more you act, the higher the chance of one of these Lollapalooza events. Block 4. The anti-ego rule. The main reason for bad decisions isn't a lack of intelligence. It's an excess of ego. Munger believed that if you want to make fewer mistakes, you've got to get your ego out of the way. Your ego makes you think you know everything. It stops you from admitting when you're wrong and makes you believe you can conquer any challenge, even if it's way outside your circle of competence. Munger famously said, "I want to know where I'm going to die, so I'll never go there." That's the ultimate anti-ego mindset. This is a form of intellectual honesty. He was completely comfortable saying, "I don't know," or "that's not my area." Think about the classic mistake of doubling down. An investor makes a bad bet, but instead of admitting they were wrong, their ego convinces them to throw more money at a losing hand. That's a problem ego created, and it's a problem humility could have avoided. Munger's humility allowed him to filter out hundreds of these ego-driven decisions and instead focus on the few decisions that were genuinely smart. It takes immense strength to say, "I was wrong," and that strength is what protects you. This is the difference between the average investor and a billionaire. But to really master this mindset, you need a roadmap. And the best roadmap there is happens to be the book, Poor Charlie's Almanac. I promise you, once you read it, you'll never see the world the same way again. The link to the book is in the description. Oh, and to make sure you don't miss out on more breakdowns like this, hit subscribe and leave a like to help the channel out. Block 5. The 2-hour rule for problem prevention. While everyone else was scrambling to make decisions, Munger had a different routine. He famously spent at least 2 hours every single day just reading and thinking, with zero distractions. This wasn't a hobby. It was his primary job. Munger's reading wasn't just passive. He would read books on biology, history, psychology, physics, anything he could get his hands on. He was building what he called a lattice work of mental models. By having a deep understanding of how different fields worked, he could see patterns and connections that others couldn't. This allowed him to spot a problem long before it ever became one. The time you spend on deep thinking isn't wasted. It's an investment that will save you from 100 bad decisions down the road. It's your secret weapon for problem prevention. Block 6. The Circle of Competence as an ultimate limiter. The most elegant way Munger destroyed problems was by ruthlessly defining his circle of competence. This isn't just about what you know. It's about what you purposely exclude from your consideration. Think of a baseball pitcher who specializes in throwing only 2 types of pitches perfectly. They don't waste time trying to learn a dozen different pitches. They focus on perfecting the 2 they have. The novice pitcher, by contrast, tries to learn every single pitch, but can't throw any of them well. For Munger and Buffett, their circle of competence was a mental wall. Anything that fell outside of it, like .com stocks in the 90s or complex derivatives, was immediately discarded. This single act of self-limitation allowed them to ignore 99% of the world's opportunities and focus all of their mental energy on the few that they knew they could master. It's a powerful tool for avoiding decision fatigue and directing all your power to where it matters most. Block 7. The Checklist Defense. In high-stakes situations, even the smartest people can make simple mistakes. Munger and Buffett understood this, and they used a simple but powerful tool to fight it: the checklist. Think about airline pilots and surgeons. Before a flight, a pilot runs through a mandatory checklist. Before a surgery, a surgeon does the same. Why? Because under pressure, humans suffer from memory bias and emotional stress that can cause them to forget critical steps. This isn't about being uncreative. It's about preventing catastrophic failures caused by simple oversights. Munger's investment checklist worked the same way. It included questions like, is this investment outside our circle of competence? Are we buying this because of ego or because of a rational analysis? What's the worst-case scenario here? This simple tool eliminates the need for frantic, emotional decisions and replaces them with a calm, rational, and repeatable process. Block 8. The Power of a No. The most powerful word in Munger's vocabulary was no. The average person uses their time and energy saying yes to every opportunity that comes their way. They chase leads, take on extra projects, and enter new markets without a clear plan. Munger saw this as the ultimate trap. He saw that every yes was a decision that required time, energy, and attention. The opportunity cost of saying yes to something mediocre is that you don't have the time to say yes to something amazing. Think about it. Every hour you spend on a mediocre project is an hour you can't spend with your family, on a workout, or on a high-leverage project. By making 10x fewer decisions, he was simply saying no to 99% of the noise. This is the ultimate form of strategic minimalism, and it is a powerful tool for achieving real wealth. It's not about being unadventurous. It's about protecting your most valuable resource, your focus. Block 9. The regret filter. Munger would often ask, "What am I going to regret the most?" He wasn't focused on what he would gain, but what he would lose. By inverting the problem and focusing on avoiding regret, he automatically filtered out all the impulsive decisions that would lead to long-term pain. This regret filter is a powerful tool for problem prevention. It forces you to mentally live with the consequences of a bad decision before you even make it. For example, before you buy a brand new, expensive TV, you would ask, "Am I going to regret the stress of making these payments? Am I going to regret the freedom I'm giving up by tying up my cash?" By doing this, you're not just avoiding a poor financial outcome, you're avoiding the mental and emotional pain that comes with it. Block 10. The fat pitch rule. Conventional wisdom tells you to swing at every ball that comes your way. Munger's wisdom was to wait for the perfect one. This is his fat pitch rule. In baseball, a fat pitch is a slow, easy-to-hit ball that floats right over the plate. A great batter doesn't get frustrated and swing at every pitch. They wait patiently for the one they know they can hit out of the park. Munger's patience was legendary. He and Buffett would go years without making a major investment. They were like a sniper waiting for a single perfect shot, not a machine gunner spraying bullets everywhere. They applied this exact same approach to investing. They were known for passing on hundreds, even thousands of opportunities that looked good. Why? Because they weren't looking for a good opportunity. They were waiting for a no-brainer, a fat pitch that was so obvious and so safe, it would be a mistake not to swing. This discipline of doing nothing is a superpower that most people are too impatient to master. It's the ultimate expression of patience and conviction. Block 11. The Munger bet. Munger's entire career was a high-stakes bet. He bet against the world. He bet against the idea that you have to be busy to be successful. He bet against the media, who are constantly pushing for new, exciting stories. He bet against the financial industry, which makes money on every single transaction you make. He bet that the best path to wealth wasn't a complicated, active one, but a simple, almost boring one. This isn't just a philosophy. It's a radical act of defiance. When you adopt Munger's rule, you're making a bet against every other person in the room. You're betting that your calm, patient inaction will beat their frantic, stressed-out activity. And history has proven him right. This isn't a game of luck. It's a game of psychology, and Munger simply chose not to play. Block 12. The compound effect of prevention. Taking fewer decisions doesn't just save you from making mistakes. It unleashes the single most powerful force in finance and in life, compounding. Just as a small investment can grow into a fortune over decades, a small handful of avoided problems can compound into an incredible life. When you avoid the 100 bad decisions everyone else is making, you're not just saving money, you're building momentum. The focus and mental clarity you gain from saying no to the noise frees you up to take advantage of the one truly great opportunity that will change everything. This isn't just about avoiding a negative outcome. It's about creating a positive snowball effect that will grow your wealth, your wisdom, and your peace of mind until it becomes unstoppable. Every bad decision you don't make is a decision for a better future. If you made it this far, it's because you don't want to be one of the crowd. You want the kind of knowledge that actually moves you forward. Our next video is going to be just as impactful as this one, but only if you're a member of our community of thinkers. Subscribe now to make sure you don't miss the next step towards success. And hit that like button to show me you're all in. For a deeper dive, check out the link to Poor Charlie's Almanac in the description.